Alright y'all, I am an absolute hot mess. We had just got through canning our tomatoes, our fryer roasted tomatoes. We had already did our preserving with the freezing ones, and then we did some granola. Now it's time for supper, so I thought I'd make this one separate. This tonight will be a whole red snapper made into Moroccan style. Then we are having a strawberry caprese tomato salad and some sauteed yellow squash with onions. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay y'all, so we need some fresh parsley. We need a very good chopped, almost finely chopped 1 cup's worth of fresh parsley. And I am using part of my stems and all for this. Alright, put the rest of this away. I will use this for another dish. I'm going to finely mince this really good. You can also use a mortar and pestle if you want. I'm just going to mince these up really fine, just like this. Cut that up with it. Alright, so now this is done. Put this in my bowl. My next ingredients, same thing as the parsley. We're going to do this with fresh cilantro. And again, same amount. We're going to need 1 cup. I'm just going to take this whole top of that off. And I am going to cut this whole thing down. One good whole bunch will pretty much make this for you. So again, just like the parsley, we want to mince this down really good. You can use an electric chopper. I probably could have done that as well. And honestly, I still may do that. You know what? That's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to make this a lot quicker, simpler, and easier. So I am going to get a convenience, and I will be right back. Okay. Am I cheating, y'all? Yep, I sure am. So I need to get this done. So I'm actually now going to this, add some fresh whole cloves of garlic. It calls for 2. Use your own preference. I'm actually going to add 3 because I like the flavor of garlic. And it's just a really tiny, small one anyways, so I'm just going to add this to it. Little garlic never hurt nobody. Alright, so now I'm going to take and pulse this up really good. I don't want to make it into baby mush. I'm just going to pulse this up to a fine consistency. And then after I get that done, we're going to add this to a bowl and then add our seasonings. So we'll be right back. And poof, just like that, we got magic. So we have our parsley, our garlic, and our cilantro already mixed up very well. And then we can add our seasonings. So I'm going to add this to a bowl now. Well, yeah, it's parsley, cilantro, and garlic. This is just for our fish. This is our Moroccan base or seasoning for our red snapper. And we are using actually a whole red snapper. We will definitely have leftovers out of this, but it's going to make a beautiful dish regardless. So, got that in there. Now, I'm going to add a ½ teaspoon each as I go along. We're going to go with some black pepper. here. I need a half a teaspoon of salt. I'm using Himalayan. Half a teaspoon of paprika. Half a teaspoon, or a third of a teaspoon actually, of chili pepper or chili powder. A half a teaspoon of cumin. And we're going to need a little bit of red pepper flakes as well. So, just for a little bit of spice, not much. Now I'm going to use a 3/4 cup of olive oil to this. Just a good dollop in through here. And then we're going to need about a half of a squeezed lemon. So I'm going to go ahead and get my lemon. Roll it out so that I can get my juices from it. Get my juicer. And we're going to go ahead and do this. Then we're going to mix this up really, really well. Move this out of the way because we will use this lemon later on to top our fish with it, the rest of it. So I'm going to mix this up really well, get these seasons blended in here. We're making somewhat of a paste. All right, so now next thing I'm going to do is go through. I'm going to score my red snapper, and we'll get this started in just a minute as well. Okay, y'all, so we have our whole red snapper right here. Now I'm going to take and I'm going to score it all the way across from the top down. And I need to sharpen this knife, it seems, because my knives are dull. Be right back. Alright, let's try this again. Now we're just, there we go. We're just going to score this all the way through this fish. Down to the tail. Then I'm going to flip it over. And I'm going to do the same on this side. This is to ensure that we get the flavors inside of the meat. Okay. So now I'm going to take my seasoning mix that we had done, and I'm going to rub this fish with it. And we're just going to take this and put it, make sure that we can get this inside of our cuts into our fish. Just like so. I'm hoping you can see this. I'm not worried about this top half. We're just looking at right down here. I'm probably going to cut this off right here as well, right quick. And I will do the other side also. There we go. Let me just get that out of the way. There we go for a minute. Alright, so now I'm just going to continue to keep coating my beautiful red snapper all the way through this, turning it over. We're going to use this whole entire thing right here. We're going to bake it on this pan. Now you can grill this if you choose to. I would have loved to have it grilled, but unfortunately that's not going to happen. So we're going to bake this at 350 degrees. And just like the other side, I'm going to make sure that my mix gets inside of my cuts. And then we're also going to make sure that we get it on the inside of our fish as well. We're thoroughly going to coat this baby with this Moroccan seasoning. And I'm going to coat the rest of this on the top, finishing this off. Just like so. Oh, that looks really, really nice and smells good too. Okay, so now I'm going to take and top this with my lemon, and I'll be right back. Okay, so we finished the other half of that lemon. We cut it in half. We're going to place it on the top of our red snapper. And now this goes in the oven until it is fork tender and thoroughly cooked through. So I will prepare the station for our salad next. Okay, my beautiful family, so here we go. I do not have a red onion, so I am going to be using a sweet onion basically from the farmer's market. I have some fresh basil, some strawberries, and some fresh cherry tomatoes. Let's make this salad. Now hubby, because I am also out of mozzarella cheese, I will be using feta in this, and he will be using his pepper jack. So, because he's not a fan of it. What I'm going to do, now since these are cherry tomatoes, I'm just going to cut these in half and add them to our bowl. You can make this as big or small as you want to. I'm just going to make this for 2 people. Now this one's a little bit bigger, so if they're a little bit bigger, I'm going to slice them like so, just like that, and add them to this. So, and some of these are really good sized cherry tomatoes, so I will be slicing them. And to make it colorful, I'm just going to add the variety of different colors that we have from our stocks. And this is why I didn't use all of my cherry tomatoes, although I've got more coming. I've definitely got an abundance harvest of cherry tomatoes that I absolutely am loving, not complaining, because there are so many things I know what to do with them, and I can't get enough. So I will actually be crying when they actually run out. So now I'm going to take and cut in half my clean strawberries, removing the stems, cutting the tops, and then cutting these in half. Just like so. This is a unique type of caprese salad, but with the Mediterranean, we want to try with different things. And technically, tomato is a fruit, so this is like a really nice summer fruit salad with some vegetables mixed in between and herbs, and so this can be really refreshing. This is beautiful for 2 people. We're going to go ahead and clean this up, and so I can get the rest of this in here. Okay, so next, like I said, this is supposed to be a purple onion, but I'm going to use a sweet onion. And hold on a minute, please. I sincerely apologize, y'all. So now I'm going to cut this really thin. I'm going to make some thin strips out of these, and then we're going to add this to the salad as well. That fish is smelling absolutely amazing. And I actually like the Mediterranean flavors because it's actually teaching me to be able to eat things differently instead of the same old, same old. And so learning all these different flavors of food is, oh my goodness. Alright, so next we're going to use the rest of that fresh basil that we had with our marinaras. I'm going to take and I'm going to make these into like ribbon slices in here. Just like a caprese, they have that fresh basil, so we're going to throw that in here as well. A couple leaves from this. You don't want it overpowering, but you don't want it underpowered either. So you just want to add just a little bit of this. You want to make sure you have enough though. Okay, so now I am going to change this for a diabetic. The strawberries enough is actually kind of sweet for diabetics. But if you were to add the balsamic vinegar, for 1 tablespoon of balsamic vinegar has 2 grams of sugar and 2 grams of carbs. I'm actually going to replace that because I have strawberries in here. I'm actually going to replace it with a 0 carb, 0 sugar red wine vinegar and our olive oil. So, and if you have no restrictions, by all means use balsamic vinegar instead. So I'm just going to drizzle just a little bit, maybe about a half tablespoon of red wine vinegar in here. And then I'm going to add about a tablespoon or 2 of olive oil. And then mix this up with some salt. I'll sprinkle some of my Himalayan sea salt in here. Be right back. Now we're going to toss this up really good. We're going to set this aside and let these marry together, and I will be adding my cheese upon plating. So, and that is our beautiful summer strawberry salad with tomatoes and strawberries. And it's actually considered a strawberry caprese salad. So now we're going to set this aside and get going on our next ingredient, which is sauteed yellow squash. So I'm going to go ahead again, clean up our station, and we're going to get ready for our next ingredients. Okay, y'all, so my temperature is set on medium-high heat. I'm going to add a couple tablespoons of olive oil and a little bit of ghee to this to get that nutty, buttery flavor without using butter. I'm going to melt that together, and in the meantime we're going to slice up our vegetables. So I am going to use a beautiful yellow squash. Cut this right down the middle and cut in half in 2 slices, like so. Just a simple put together using farm fresh vegetables. That's all we're doing, and that's basically Mediterranean. Isn't that hard in recipes? You're just putting flavors, seasonings, vegetables together. This is all you're doing. You're creating goodness from freshness. It's don't have to be complicated. If you wanted to and didn't want to do strawberries or didn't have strawberries, you can actually take some cilantro with some tomatoes and make you a nice salad out of that with some olive oil. So, alright, we're going to saute these up. And we're also going to take some of our onions again in slices thinly, just like so. Get these cooked down, and then I will be adding our seasonings to this. I'm going to go ahead and cut these in half because they're quite big round rings. Just going to basically throw these in here and saute all of these flavors together, and then add our seasonings about halfway through. And then again, that's going to be simple seasonings as well. So we're going to come back after this starts cooking down some, and we'll be right back. Okay, y'all, so now we cook these down some. We're going to add some salt and pepper. This is going to be very simple seasonings. You could, if you wanted to, for those who have it, you could actually use some salt and pepper and some za'atar. But we're actually going to be using salt, pepper, and some garlic powder. You can also use fresh minced garlic if you'd rather prefer to do that instead. So I'm just going to take my home dehydrated garlic powder because it's got more flavoring. Just going to add that to this. Mix this up and that's it. Simple as this. Now we're just going to saute this. Our salad is sitting aside. Our fish is continuing to keep baking. And that's it. This is actually our supper for the night. Very simple. I will put a photocopy or a photo of what the final dish looks like in the community section. And yeah, I will, because hubby's actually got to go pick up some bees, so I'd be waiting quite a while to plate this up with you. So I will put it in the or I will create a very short video on the final once we get it plated. So I hope this was something that you can enjoy to prepare for your family. Until next time, much love to each and every one of you from Parton's Heritage Homestead.